A very good Monday morning to you. As you know, you are watching Y254 channel, and this is Y in the Morning. So make sure you do interact with us on social media platforms. It is about that time we delve into youth and politics, my favorite segment this part of the week. Hey, so please make sure all of you who have anything to say, any contributions to make, slide into our DM. Start with YM254. The number is 22162. On Twitter, we're at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y in the Morning. And today with me in studio, we're taking it a notch down. No, we are not going to gossip today. Today, we are here to discuss youth in leadership and how really involved are the youth in leadership. And with me in studio, I have the very capable members of the Youth Senate Kenya. I will allow them to say good morning to you and say their counties respectively.
Good morning to you all. I'm Phillip Okoit, the Youth Senator Busia County and the Clerk at Youth Senate Parliament. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm John Wangai, Senator Laikipia County. I'm also the Acting National Coordinator. Thank you for hosting us today.
Good morning. I'm John Wangai from Samburu County, National Coordinator for Persons with Disabilities in the Youth Senate of Kenya. Yeah.
So karibuni sana studio. So before we get too serious, there's a story that Kenyans have really been talking about, and I'd like to find out your opinion on this, which is our Deputy President winning the Young Achievers Award in Uganda. So if you missed it during the weekend, check it out.
Gichuru has already told us there is some $10 million available to promote innovation. President Museveni, several years ago, started an innovation fund. It's clear to me that a number of you will benefit from this fund because of the
current 180,000 students in our Tibet colleges. Our plan is to expand enrollment to over 3 million in the next 5 years. When Nkrumah, Obote, Nyerere, and Kenyatta fought for liberation, they aspired for a continent where national barriers will stand as bridges, not barriers, to the free and unhindered movement of young people across frontiers, making possible the economic renaissance of the 1.3 billion people in our economy, in our continent. I believe that unless education is reformed to emphasize the primacy of science, technology, and technical education, the potential of African youth will remain unlocked, the continent's development trajectory blurred, and our collective march to the fourth industrial revolution slowed and undermined. For what shall it profit a man to know when Vasco da Gama reached Malindi, or when Henry Morton Stanley discovered the mouth of River Congo, unless such a young person is acquainted with the science of crop production, or electricity generation, or the art of design. It is for this reason that over the last 6 years, President Kenyatta and I have turned what was a forgotten, ignored, and underfunded technical education sector into the centerpiece of our skills building program necessary for Kenya's, and I dare East Africa's, industrial takeoff. The idea that Africa must learn to celebrate and validate her own rather than wait for external approval by others is a liberating mindset which I fully endorse. I want all the youth watching here now and elsewhere to know that a new day is on the horizon. And when that new day finally dawns, it will be because a number of daring young people born by commoners, many of whom are right here in this room, will become the leaders to take the mantle of new Pan-Africanism and deliver Africa's Agenda 2063 ahead of time.
Of course, a very big congratulations to our Deputy President. However, Kenyans had so many reactions to this, and you also had a few reactions to this as well. Let me start with you, Phillip.
Okay, based on what the Deputy President said about the youth, that a new dawn is on the horizon, I believe the youth can deliver Agenda 2063 just like he said early enough, and it's up to them to decide whether they want to deliver it or not. So, but on him winning the trophy, okay, it's a milestone for him, it's good, but maybe we would have honored another young legislator in East Africa for that award. But congratulations to him for that, and we look forward to youth taking over the leadership of this country and the region, and do things that the people want done. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Laikipia.
Well, first I would like to commend him for winning the Young Achievers Award. He made a great speech there, but as my colleague has said, that in the whole East Africa, there are other young politicians, other young leaders, and other young business people, other achievers who would have been given the award. But all in all, I want to commend him. But we know where he has come from. He was once a chicken seller, as we all hear.
Yes,
And
yes.
now he is second in command, and he is an inspiration to many. Yeah.
All right, what about you, John?
To me, I feel the deputy deserves the award.
Oh.
Personally, I feel he has been very much hardworking, from being a student leader to such a position. Yeah, he's so much energetic. He has done a lot. To me, he deserves it. Yeah, and he should be congratulated for it.
All right, all right. Then there is someone else who we've recently lost to cancer, and he goes by the name of Kofi Annan. And I'd like to understand, as the Youth Senate Kenya, what lessons can you say you admired most in Kofi Annan? Just a short tribute before we continue.
I can say that the best thing I learned with Kofi Annan is the negotiation skill that he possessed. Borrowing from what happened in the 2007-2008 post-poll violence, you realize that what James Orengo said, that he used to record down everything, whatever you agreed on and whatever you disagreed on. He didn't wait for you to agree on everything, because it's not easy for people to agree over every other aspect. But from that small and that little milestone you make, that agreement, you'll find consensus later on. So that skill, being able to bring people together based on the little that they can agree on, to build a foundation for further agreement on more complicated matters, is the best thing I can say I learned from Kofi Annan.
All right.
Well, as Youth Senate Kenya, we condole with the rest of the world for the loss of such a peace icon. We remember Kofi Annan worked with great enthusiasm. He was the first African to become the UN Secretary, where he served for 2 terms. He is also remembered by some critics as when the Rwanda massacre happened, he was the one who was leading the peace mission. But that is the bad side of him. But to remember him more positively, he was a great peace icon, as Matthew 5:9 says that our blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. I know where he is now. He is resting perfectly with God. We also, as a continent, we are also proud of him. Again, in the Bible, there's Jesus talked of this young man called Nathaniel, where people are doubting. And now it's evident that in Africa, we can give birth to such great icons who can help the world very well in maintaining peace in Afghanistan.
So Africa has a lot of potential.
Yeah, Africa has a lot of potential. We just have to rise up and explore our potentials.
All right. What about you, John? Real quick.
Kofi Annan has been a very passionate person about people, their lives. Then he has been humane. He has been contributing a lot to the lives of men. Actually, more so Africa. He has been a standout to make Africa a better place for the people. In fact, he has been in the front line in fighting, combating things like HIV/AIDS, more so in Africa. He has been so humane to the people. He wants people to live a world that is worth being. Yeah, he has been good for that.
All right. Thank you very much. I like that. But anyway, now let's delve into matters at hand. You're the Youth Senate of Kenya, and you've been in office for about 5 years, or in operation rather for 5 years. What can you say are some of the milestones that you've been able to achieve? And when you guys meet in Parliament and give your motions forward to now the members of Parliament, are your views taken into consideration? That's why I want to know the milestones that you've been able to achieve within these 5 years.
Thank you. I think to start with, let me commend the government of Kenya for having a cordial relationship with Youth Senate Kenya, especially the Ministry of Youth. The biggest achievement I can say that Youth Senate has had is the creation of the Ministry of Youth. That Youth Senate Kenya, through the outgoing national coordinator, Mr. Ben Ogutu, petitioned the government and wrote to the president. That's when the ministry was created, because when the government came into force in 2013, we didn't have that specific ministry for the youth. But later on, courtesy of Youth Senate Kenya, we had that ministry created, and we saw Cecily Kariuki heading that ministry for the first time. So today we also have that ministry in place, and actually it's responding to the needs of the youth directly, and it's doing a good job. Actually, it's doing good. Yeah, so that's the best thing I can say Youth Senate has achieved so far.
Okay.
Well, Youth Senate, as our motto says, that we want to make a generation with a difference. What I can say we will be remembered for is on matters to registrations. We are the people who we petition through Sakaja, the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, which, as per Article 100 of the Constitution, guarantees that the youth and the people with living disability and women be given 30% of the contracts and tenders in the counties and the national government.
Oh wow!
So I think that's a good milestone. We will also be remembered for petitioning the University Amendment Act, which was brought in by Mheshimiwa Duale. It was barring students from electing their leaders directly through the popular votes. As we speak right now, the motion is in Parliament. We have talked with KOPA, Kenya Youth Parliamentary Associations. We have talked with the parliamentary women leaders, and they are in support of our motion, so that we can bring back the universal suffrage. Because we know a lot of leaders in this country nurtured their talents back then in universities as student leaders. We have also run a lot of campaigns. We have the peace campaigns. As you can see, my brother here is the national coordinator for people with disability. We have also promoted people with disability nationally. I know that we have not done much, but the little we have done can speak for behalf.
All right, we'll talk about your goals later, but let me first understand from John. What can you say have been your milestones representing people with disabilities, youth with living with disabilities?
Actually, the Youth Senate have created a space for us also to feel that we are part of the society. Personally, when we are together with these people, the encouragement I get, it gives me more energy to go to the ground level, to the grassroots, to talk to my people and uplift them. Mostly, persons with disabilities suffers a lot in terms of emotionally, and they become somehow frowned. they lack that belief in themselves. Information is the key thing. Once you talk with these people to understand themselves and accept themselves, they change their attitude. The same the attitude I've gotten and the positive perception of life, which is through the youth senate. That's when I felt like, oh, we are also part of the society, and I should act soberly and stand out. Yeah, basically, youth senate has been a part of success, not only for the youth, but a larger and a bigger population. Yeah, inclusive of people with disabilities. Because when I go back home, I don't just go for the youth. In fact, to me now, the youth senate have created a large room for me to get to a larger population, more than the youth. Yeah.
So let's talk about integrity, because this is quite a conversation when it comes to youth who are trying to get into government or are working with government. We have an author who claims that the youth currently, the youth that are in government, are nothing but political pawns, and they're corrupted by politicians and they do not represent the youth accurately. So you guys told me that you guys are not, you're not given any kind of remuneration for your services. So how do you maintain integrity? Is this Paul Wangai true? What he's saying true?
Okay, maybe before I delve into that, maybe I give you another achievement of Youth Senate Kenya and then we continue. I can say Youth Senate Kenya has been a breeding ground for young leaders and actually, yeah, just young leaders. We have so many elected senators, MCAs, and MPs today who are part of Youth Senate in the past. So that's another achievement. So with that integrity, the integrity question, you can say Youth Senate Kenya, by virtue that we've been in place since 2014 for 5 years now, and we've not sold out since that time, despite the fact that last year there were so many people who could offer Youth Senate money to support them and to spearhead their agenda. We didn't sell out. And I can say if we manage to overcome that, then our integrity should not be put to question, because nobody can resist money. But if you can resist, then your integrity, you are good to go actually. Yeah, it should not be put to question.
All right. What about you, John?
Well, for me, there is also another writer who's saying that the youths are not growing because they fight themselves.
Yeah.
Now, like that one is directly or indirectly fighting us. But what there is that, as our motto says, we are breeding a generation with a difference. That you don't have to give back to the society or to empower youths to be paid. You can volunteer, and God will bless you later. Again, in our activities, for example, in Laikipia, I do partner with many NGOs, many the county governments, and they have been very supportive. So if you're planning an event and they are sponsoring, like giving merchandise, giving food, you don't need anything. You just need to bring the youths and they'll be catered for. I think that's enough. For the other parts, yes, we also get some advantage. It's a plus to a CV. When you go looking for jobs, you also network with these leaders. So necessarily, it's not about money. I think the writer, Paul Wangai, is misplaced. He should yeah.
What about you, John? It's being that you represent the people with special needs, as you have seen the Youth Senate of Kenya, do you believe they possess that integrity?
Yeah, I believe they do. In most of the instances, a group or you individually, your dream should be bigger than the things that you hold. You may be having money, yes, but that money without a vision on where you want to be or where you intend to be, actually the money will be useless and others will gain it for their own success. So most importantly, the Youth Senate of Kenya has a bigger dream.
All right, being that the youth are represented by 78% of this population of ours, and we've had so many issues with employment, as 7 out of 10 of people aged between 20 to 35 don't have jobs. What has the Youth Senate of Kenya been doing about unemployment of young people in this country?
Youth Senate Kenya works on 5 major thematic areas, and one of our key thematic areas is youth empowerment through promotion of entrepreneurship and agribusiness. And so for that matter, on matters youth and employment, we endeavor to empower the youth to be entrepreneurial and to engage in agriculture so that they can trade their products. So that is agribusiness. So we can say through that, the Youth Senate Kenya has been able to empower the youth and to make them self-employed. Like I can give an example of Busia County, where we came up with an initiative, the same way Yali does, that we bring youth together, and from that, it's like an incubation center. We train them on entrepreneurship skills, basic arithmetic skills, record keeping, and with time, we peg your membership on that entrepreneurship class based on what you've been able to do for yourself, such that if you've not started anything so far, after some time, like 3-4 months, then we phase you out until when you realize the necessity of being serious with whatever we are telling you, we are trying to make you aware of. So entrepreneurship and agribusiness is one of the ways Youth Senate Kenya is trying to empower the youth through partnership with other organizations and sectors like the government and non-governmental sector.
All right, John, is there anything you can add?
Yeah. As Youth Senate, like I've said in our achievements, we petitioned the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, which guarantees youths and women and people with disability 30% of the contracts and tenders in governments and counties. I think necessarily people should not just look for employment, but they should also have companies, business names, so that they can get the tenders, so that they